Today we're going to be looking at a co-op survival horror FPS called The Killing Floor, made by Tripwire Interactive and on sale at Steam or your favourite retailer. Set in the countryside and cities of the US and England, a military cloning experiment takes a turn for the worst and vile creatures known as specimens are swarming across the two countries with no sense of stopping, and only you can help. Dropped off on one of several maps, you and your fellow soldiers are left in the specimen-infected area with only one goal: search and destroy. Sounds epic enough, but how does the game itself stand up to the storyline? Is the game as impressive as the story? It's time to find out what we all thought.
Alright, now we started playing this game last summer during the Steam sale. A few of us bought the game, and when we bought that with Steam we had some free passes, so we sent it to other crew members, and we really enjoyed it. We were busy doing a lot of other stuff, so we didn't play it as much, and the guest passes ran out. But just recently in the Halloween sale that Steam did, a bunch of us have got it also now, so we've been playing this a lot more, and you've seen a few videos of us playing this. But we're going to kind of go ahead and go through, and everybody's going to kind of give some of their thoughts on the game, and we're going to start off with Piper.
I really enjoy Killing Floor. I like playing with everybody, and it's kind of a new experience for me doing a first-person shooter. It's really good, and zombies are evil, and I'm glad it's not killing other humans, because that would just be weird. But yeah, I like playing it.
I haven't been playing PC games for very long, like I've mainly been a console person, but now that I've got a chance to really look at like the Steam, like I wouldn't say this game was indie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a premium priced game, but looking at the gameplay, the way it looks, like graphics wise, it looks like it could be a premium game. Like I haven't even got the settings on max, and it's really pretty. I mean, I know that Belboz has it on maxed settings, and I can only imagine what it looks like on his. So yeah, graphics look good, sounds good, and it's so replayable. I must have got about 60 hours into it. So yeah, I think it's great.
Now for me, I really enjoyed this game. I am a huge first-person shooter fan. I mean, I just love them. I've been playing them since the first Doom came out. So I really enjoy first-person shooters. The things about this game that I like is that it is so quick to just jump in and play. I mean, there really is no story. You know, I mean, it's kind of your minimal survival story. But you literally can just load this thing up, and you can jump in there with a bunch of your friends and see how long you can survive. With the ultimate goal, obviously, being to get through 10 waves, depending on how you have it set. But we usually play on normal and long on the settings. But just literally jumping in there and fighting. I found it, you know, I think that the mechanics of the game work really well. I think that the weapons are relatively balanced and everything across all the classes. I find it, it just, you know, it plays smooth. I know on slower systems it may not play as smooth, but it does allow you to turn the details down so it is playable. And the fact that Piper can play it with her laptop and actually, you know, run smooth.
Yeah.
Says a lot about it, but I just think it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this kind of game, and I love the team aspect of it. All right, so let's talk about the Killing Floor from a gameplay aspect. Just a few things that I'll mention, and then you guys kind of jump in. Obviously, when you start this game, one of the first choices you have is to select the perk. You know, what class you want to be. Things like Berserker, Commando. Support specialist, field medic. There is a whole bunch of options, and a good squad needs to be made up of the various things. You can't always go heavy with berserkers and expect to do well on some of the hard settings. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of it, where we have to kind of work things out.
Well, I've only played sharpshooter. I find it quite challenging, actually. It's quite tricky to aim a gun, and I never realised that before. Quite easy to level up too. You have to play and play and play, but it's quite easy to level up and gain the advantage.
And one thing to mention too that I really think is really nice about the leveling, you know, I was expecting that when I picked a commando that I could only level up my commando while I was playing, but you can actually level up the other perks, assuming that you do whatever's needed to increase that perk. So like when I'm playing a commando on wave 1, I only have a pistol. But if I do headshots with that pistol, it actually increases my stat for my sharpshooter.
I did not realize that.
If I heal somebody, it's increasing my stat for my field medic. So I had leveled up my sharpshooter to, I think, 3 without ever playing a sharpshooter.
If I had anything that I want to say about the actual leveling system, it was just that the perks themselves are a lot more complex than I thought they were going to be. I thought it was just going to be a simple, you level up and it makes you slightly powerfuler. But the perk system, the kind of like perks within perks, whereas each class has 5 different perks that go up after each level. And I think it certainly makes the game a lot more complex, considering the genre of what it is. If I had to pick anything, which I couldn't find many bad things about this game, but if I had to pick one thing that isn't so much a bad thing, but just something that I was a little disappointed by, is maybe the weapons could have been a bit more varied. Each class only has about 3 or 4 weapons to choose from, which is fine. I mean, you can play it fine, everything's available and everything in multiplayer, but I just think it just seems that it would have been better if there was more choices of weapons to use for each class.
One other thing just on the gameplay, Extra had a very good point about the weapons, and I agree with that. And he did also touch on one thing I wanted to just mention more, is any class can use any weapon. But obviously, if you're using certain classes, certain weapons have a much higher benefit if used by that class. So, if I play as a commando and use a katana, I'm not going to be dealing as much damage with the katana as a berserker who uses that as one of his main weapons. So you can use any weapon, but I agree with Extra. It would be nice if maybe each class had more options available to them that were suited for that perk. All right, so let's move on to graphics. What do you guys think about the graphics in this game?
I think they're good. I like, what was the one we did with the church? The map with the church, and you got like a whole bit of London, like you got the red phone box and stuff, and it's very realistic. As realistic as zombies in a game can be.
Graphic-wise, I mean, this game uses the Unreal Engine, so I mean, the graphics are good. I mean, they're not as top-notch as some of the current first-person shooters out there, but this game is a few years old. But I don't think the graphics are dated. I still think they look good, and I think they're definitely fine for this game. I mean, I can't really knock it on the graphics side. I mean, it seems fine.
When I looked at the graphics, I just thought to myself, these graphics are far too good for what I paid for it, and I don't know whether we're actually going to touch up on what the actual price is, because obviously sales and everything, but I think considering it isn't like a really premium priced title, the graphics on it match what a premium priced game would be like. And like I said, I don't run it on max, but from what I've run it on, it's pretty flawless, and you get a full. It is very atmospheric. When you jump in there, you do get a good atmosphere of the game.
I can't really fault the game. The sounds are fine. I kind of wish players said more stuff instead of completely repeating the same lines over and over and over. I know that's common for this genre. Music-wise, I think the music's fine. There's some pretty nice tunes that kind of get you in the mood and kind of crank up the beat a little bit when you're mowing down specimens. So I think the music is fine. Sound is good. I just would have liked maybe more phrases from the characters instead of just a few.
Yeah, I don't like the siren squeal, which I guess is good because I don't think you're supposed to like it.
I think the sounds in the game are pretty well thought out. I'm not a fan of, even though the game is set in Britain, I've got to admit I'm not a big fan of the actual accents themselves, because I feel like they overdid it a bit with the accents. Like it's a bit
Fake
too
sounding.
British, if that's even
like it.
yeah.
I think it's quite nice.
I
Kind of
think
funny.
yeah, it's certainly funny, but
Especially
I don't know
trailer.
whether funny would fit the actual genre itself.
It's kind of tongue-in-cheeky funny sometimes. Like if you see where people are dead, like there's that one guy with the axe in his thing. But lots of tongue-in-cheek moments in the game. I think the voices do suit the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this game was developed here in the States, and this is Americans trying to do over-the-top British accents, or if these people were British developers or the people who did the voices, and they were told to kind of go over the top with it. I didn't have any problem with it per se, but I did wonder how you guys felt about it, being the fact that you guys are all from the UK.
I thought it was fine actually. I think the trader's voice is really funny and the things she says. But I mean, in a way, it does sound very, very British, like maybe slightly fake British. I don't know. It would be interesting to find out actually if the person who's talking is British or not.
So you basically didn't really want too much humor from the characters because with some of these over-the-top lines, because it's a very serious situation you've been thrown into in a world with specimens overrunning. You're fighting for your life. That the characters would be a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I think just the fact that it is a survival FPS. Like if it was just normal FPS, then putting some humour in it would be a nice little, like touch to it. But I just think because it's survival, it should have been, taken a bit more seriously. But opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I think I disagree on that. I think it's quite a nice game because it has that touch of humour to it. If it was too serious, I think it would be a bit boring.
If it was too serious, I probably wouldn't be playing it.
All right, well, let's talk about replayability. What you guys think about if this game is a game that you'll play for a while and then put it away, or if you think there's replayability?
Well, I play it all the time, so it's good. There's different maps, so you can always choose a different one if you get bored. You can always change your perk if you get bored with your perk.
Yeah, I think changing the maps, and there has to be quite a wide range of maps, because otherwise you are just doing the same thing over and over again. But I mean, it's just like a casual first-person shooter.
I've played about 60. I've played about 60 hours, which I think is longer than most games last I play. But I've been spending most of those 60 hours on single player. I actually played the single player more than I played the multi, and yeah, a single player game that lasts 60 hours, I think in any genre, is pretty impressive. And it's even more impressive considering that I haven't maxed out any of my classes yet. So, there's always more stuff to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find leveling up is much easier on single player. Sometimes if you're on multiplayer, you can lag a little bit, so you can't get all the headshots sometimes.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I've never played single player. I've only played multiplayer, and I think I haven't played that many hours. It's I have managed to level up quite high.
And it should be said, when you play this single player, it's the exact same game. It's just you're by yourself. When you play multiplayer, it'll add more enemies because there's more players, and it will also make the at least the final boss more difficult. I think it's got a lot of replayability because you do want to try to level up all the perks potentially. I do find that some of the perks are really hard to level, so you have to put a lot of time into this game if you're going to really try to max out every class in the game, every perk, and get it up to level 6. One of the other things that we haven't touched on a ton that I think gives this game a lot of replayability is there are a ton of maps that you can download off the web and put in the game. There's also some custom weapons. The only caveat to that is you want to make sure if you're adding a map or a weapon pack that it's whitelisted. If it's not whitelisted, when you play that map or use those weapons, you won't be able to level up your perks because it's not a sanctioned map. But there are a ton that are. So, I mean, there's a ton of replayability, I think, in this game, be it playing it single player or playing it multiplayer. But I find this is just a fun game to say, hey guys, let's go kill some specimens, and we'll just jump in and play a couple times through, and it's just fun.
Yeah, I don't think I focus on the aspect of leveling up. I'm more just there to play with you guys rather than level up my character.
All right, so let's go ahead and give overall ratings. Extra, what would you give this game on a scale of 0 to 10?
I think just because of the fact that, there isn't a great variety of weapons and stuff like that, I can give it a 10. But on everything else is pretty much fluid and solid. So I'll give it a 9.
Okay. Piper?
I'm giving it a 7. Because I think it's good. It is fun to play. It's simple to play. It's just going backwards and forwards. So you're killing the same things, and you're killing the patriarch at the end. And I know you guys are going to groan at me, but there are no female characters apart from the trader. It would be nice to actually have a female character to play.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think more developers need to do that because there are more gamers that are female.
I'm still deciding. I think I'll give it 8.5 because there's kind of a story to it, but there's not really a solid story to it. If you know what I mean. Like, I know it's bad to do this, but like compare it to Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead's story is much more there, if you know what I mean. Whereas Killing Floor's story is kind of just a little blurb at the start of it, and you kind of. I suppose in a way that's kind of good because you kind of make your own story. But that's why I'm not giving it a 10. And I wish that there were more skins for the monsters.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give it a 7 also, like Piper. And I think the only reason I would, or the only thing they could do that would make me give it an 8 would be what Gizmo just touched on. I'd like to see more skins. What I would have loved to have seen was when we were at Santa's evil lair, or workshop, whatever it was called. I'd like to see the specimens look like characters from that realm. So maybe Santa's elves and other things. When we're in London, maybe people that look more like they are from London instead of it just being these pretty much naked crawlers walking around. If we're at the mountain pass, maybe people look like hikers, campers. But try to integrate where you're playing with the skins. Now they do different things, like when you play it at Halloween, they had like a circus theme to it.
It was the circus for the summer.
I would just love to see, instead of just getting these themes every once in a while, have the characters kind of look like what they should from that area. If they did that, I'd give it an 8. I don't think I could give it any higher than that because it's to me it's a very good first-person shooter and it's very good for what it is, but it doesn't have the depth of some of the real classic, the big name FPSs out there. It's just a great mindless go in there with a group of friends and just fight until you die or until you beat the patriarch. But by all means, to me, this is a great game, and if you like this genre, if you like first-person shooters and you like a horror survival aspect, you should definitely get this. Extra touched on it that it's a few years older. It is a cheap game. Even right now, you can get it here in the States off Amazon for like $10. You can get it through Steam. I think it's a little pricier right now on Steam. It'll be on sale probably this holidays on Steam, and I'm sure you can probably get it in the UK or wherever through Amazon and get it relatively cheap too.
I have to say, I love my chicken outfit.
Oh, I was going to mention that.
Even though it took me God knows how long. But I love it. And hopefully there'll be some more, hopefully there'll be a bunny skin.
Yes! I mean, you guys spent hours playing that just to get chicken soup.
Yeah, and for the people out there who don't know what we're talking about, during the Halloween event, Tripwire had a thing where if you played the Bedlam map on hard and you actually killed the patriarch, you would get a chicken suit. So it was only supposed to run for 2 or 3 days. It ended up running for about a week.
Just a small thing, and I don't think many people is really going to be that bothered by this, but something else that I liked is this is one of the only games that I know of where you can actually set the screen region, without having to go into any program files or anything, which is great if you want to multitask or anything like that. Because I have a lot of trouble when it comes to, say if I want to watch a YouTube video or something like that, I have to go on full screen or I have to go on windowed, which is going to cover some of the screen. But on Killing Floor you can customize it to any size you want.
Looking at our reviews, obviously our ratings, Extra gave a 9, Piper and I gave it 7s, and Giz gave it an 8.5. Basically that averages out to about an 8. So I think that's a pretty solid rating for this game. So I think we can pretty much say the crew says if you're into this type of game, get it. This is a game to play if you like this genre.
And that concludes our review on The Killing Floor. We hope you enjoyed it, and let us know if there are any more games you'd like us to review.
I'm reloading!